Boomers Rock is brought to you by Mercy Health. More information at mercyhealth.com.
Welcome to Boomers Rock Radio. The show features a variety of topics, but most importantly, our show is about quality of life. Now, the host of Boomers Rock Radio, Tom Matt.
Welcome to the radio show this week, everybody. Hope you had a good one. Don't know when you're listening to this. It could be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I hope. Podcast, stream, broadcast, who knows? And you know what? I just appreciate you guys all being there, listening to our guests and doing that thing. This is the Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show, and I am your voice, Tom Matt. So happy to have the opportunity to bring you great people and interesting stories and topics, and just we're all over the place. Every week is like a walk into the land of Oz, you guys. All right, so last week, Scott Jeffrey was here. CEO Station. I want to make sure that I get you to go to Scott's website, scottjeffrey.com. Scott Jeffrey, JEFFREY.com. He's the founder of CEO Sage. I am test driving a couple of his courses right now. And so by the time this show with Peter airs, you will have plenty of opportunity to get the shadow course that I'm doing as a test. And I'm going to do a review on that. And it's been amazing. So we called that one Actualize Your Potential. It was show 681. It was Scott Jeffrey. If you missed that one, you absolutely, I wish you listened to all of them, everybody, because our downloads of the podcast are creeping up. We're well over 100,000. Our monthly totals are going up. And we don't even hardly promote anything. Just think when we actually promote something and, have the opportunity to do that, then a guy like my guest today, Peter Schenk, well, yeah, it's like coast to coast. All right, so that's enough on Scott, but that was a great show, so please keep that in mind. All right, so today, I got to tell you a quick story here, of course, you know me. So you guys know that I wake up really early. I'm an early morning guy, and I go to the gym really early, and I'm just it's just my thing. It's just how I roll. And so I always wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's actually a little bit before that because the clock's fast, to Coast to Coast Radio, okay, the radio show Coast to Coast. And I've cherry picked a couple of guests off of Coast to Coast, and it's just a great show. Well, this recently, not that long ago, I woke up and I heard this guy's voice, and I'm telling you guys, I'm still going through my gratitude thing, my gratitude 30-second stretch gratitude thing, waking up hearing this, and I hear this guy, and I'm like, I got to talk to this guy. He just sounded super cool. I only heard maybe 2 minutes of the interview, and it was Peter Schenk. So Peter Schenk is our guest today, and I'm going to do a quick intro, and then we're going to let him kind of roll with this, because this is a really different show in that Peter and I, we clicked, and it's going to be let him roll with his stuff, because I always like experiencing new things, and this is going to be one of them shows, you guys. In addition to developing and perfecting powerful quantum energy, that's another thing. See the quantum energy stuff? Love it so much. Based software platforms, modern-day Mystic founder Peter Schenk provides continued outreach through weekly podcasts, lectures to groups around the world, workshops, and one-on-one sessions. We'll get to all that stuff here later in the fourth segment. We'll get you Peter's contact info. For nearly 20 years, Peter has been on a mission to marry the physical and the metaphysical through the mystical powers of numbers. Now, part of the story is Peter is this is a transitional thing for him. He wasn't always doing this, and that's going to be part of his story. I'm going to let him just tell the story, because I want to hear this whole story, because I didn't hear much of it on Coast to Coast, but I want to welcome to the show my buddy. Had a great conversation yesterday with him, Peter Schenk. Peter, welcome to the show.
Tom, thank you. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You got an agenda, and I'm gonna let you just go, baby. Sorry for the long intro. We got 6 minutes before we got to take our first break, and it's like, okay, Peter, your show. Go ahead.
So I generally like to blow people's minds right out of the gate as fast as possible. And today, to kind of set the mood and the tone for today's show, we're going to be doing a water blessing. So I'd like everyone to go ahead and get a glass of water or bottled water and place it in front of you on the table.
Got it.
Well, energy Tom, that is in physical form or non-physical form will do absolutely anything for you as long as you acknowledge its existence. And the reason I bless water is because it's the most programmable material on the planet, and we can pretty much program it with whatever we want. And today we're going to be programming it just for goodwill and set the tone for the show. So with that said, I'd like everyone to straighten their backs, put the glass of water, bottled water in front of them, and raise your left hand over it about 3 inches and spread your fingers. In a second, you'll start to feel energy run down through your hand into the water. You can feel like heat pressing against your hand, a straight up lightning bolt, tinglies, and anything in between. Once that starts to flow, I'd like you to put your attention on the water and just out loud recite these 8 magical words one time. I honor the space in which you exist.
I honor the space in which you exist.
And immediately you'll start to feel that energetic form just flow through your hand that much faster. And when it reaches, maximum density or velocity, it takes about 10, 15 seconds. Go ahead and taste the water, Tom.
All right.
Notice how different it is.
Okay. Sweeter.
There you go. Now,
I swear to God, I am not lying, you guys. This is the honest to God. You know me, I do not bend the truth anymore. So, true.
That's a good thing.
Well, the story of my 20 years of drinking and drugging. When you're drinking and drugging and you're still not getting in trouble, you're doing a really good job of hiding and lying. So it's like, I own that. Go ahead, man. You got the blessing going on.
So, my whole life was not always doing this. I have a 20-year career working for one of the world's largest investment banks in technology. And during that 20-year career, about 10 years into my career there, I had a wake-up experience. Now, you have to understand my life prior to this experience. I was very self-absorbed. I didn't care about anybody or anything except for my wife at the time, my 2 beautiful children. It was just about making more money and becoming more empty on the inside as I was, moving through this reality. I knew nothing about unconditional love of self, about humility, about discernment. It was all a joke. When I heard things about the New Age and love and light crowd, I would just kind of laugh to myself and, crack these jokes. And then one day in the summer of 2004, I was sitting at my computer at home and my world forever, and I mean forever, changed. And the experience that was delivered literally happened at the speed of thought. And the only equivalent that I've ever come up with in order to explain what had happened, Tom, was if you can imagine through your own physical eyes seeing the entire world in black and white, and the next second everything is in, HD color. That's how radical my change was. So immediately I was gifted with what we call a gift of sight. I was able to see energy in everything. And for the first 6 weeks, now imagine this, I'm going to work, I'm managing a team of people, and I'm seeing energies everywhere. It was like this continuous acid trip that just never ended. You couldn't turn it off, and it was becoming more powerful. And after about 6 weeks, I had determined that 2 things had happened. One, I had literally gone insane. And, the one thing that kept me going was, had I gone insane, I was better off being this new me than where I had come from, which was this, empty, selfless nobody, into this being that was starting to be impulsed. I wanted to help people. It was crazy. It was coming out of nowhere. So, the first crowd that I came across were the New Age and Love and Light guys, and I just couldn't jive with anything they were telling me. Nothing made sense. It was too airy-fairy. All they did was talk, and I wanted to put, action into motion. I didn't want to be passionate and driven. Passionate about what I was doing, passionate and motivated. I wanted to be driven. Okay, unstoppable between where I am and whatever I put my mind to is my end result.
Okay. Hold on. Now we're gonna come up on break here. Can I stop you right here at Be Driven?
Sure.
Can we do that? Okay. Here's the deal, everybody. I'm telling you, this is going to be a fantastic show. Peter Schenk's with us, calling this one Modern Day Mystic after his company. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about being driven. This is going to be very interesting, very enlightening. pay attention, stick around. I hope you really enjoy this. I know you will if you just listen to him. Peter Schenk has got it going on. Modern Day Mystic. You're listening to Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show. We'll be right back.
This is Tom Matt's Boomers Rock Radio. Connect with our show this week. Want to send Tom an email? Send it to tom@boomersrock.us. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to the Modern Day Mystic Radio Show, otherwise known as the Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show. My guest today is going to be Peter Schenk. We're going to acknowledge all the stations here. And if you are just joining us, you're going to want to go back and listen to segment 1, because that was the most different first segment we've ever had on this radio program, and we've done like 1,400 interviews on this thing. But first, before we get back to being driven, I want to thank the stations that are carrying the program all over the Michigan Talk Network. Any station I don't mention, please send me an email. You know the whole drill. There's 35 stations in the network, and I know there's a bunch of cities up there that are carrying the show on Stephen Ivey's platform. So you guys send me a note. I will be happy to acknowledge you. Here are the stations that I know absolutely positively are carrying the show. WJHN 92.1 FM in Grand Haven, Michigan. WJIM, the Big Talker, the big station in Lansing, Michigan, 1240 AM. WYPV FM 94.5 Mackinac City. This is why I know that Traverse City and Alpena and Ludington and you guys are all like, you're listening. I know you are. WKAR 105.1 FM and AM 870, our PBS affiliate at Michigan State University. Thank you so much for carrying our show. Susie, I appreciate you so much. You don't even know. Been on their air for about 2 years now. Any stations that'd like to carry our content on the Michigan Talk Network, any of our shows, any of our niche, because we are niche. We are talk radio. We are the middle living population, even though with the Generation Us book, we've got younger people coming on all the time. They're all kind of seeking us out here for some reason. Maybe it's because we got Peter Schenk on. I don't know, but it's all good. All right, so here's what we're going to do here. In the first segment, we talked about, and we had a water blessing from Peter. Now, again, I want you to go back and listen to the first segment. So go to the podcast because the numbers are good, and go get the podcast if you missed it. All right, we're gonna try to work our way through these points that Peter's delivered to me. We're going to talk about the wake up experience. We're going to talk about his life, quantum mechanics. I always want to talk about that. Developing water technology, development of physical products, and where Modern Day Mystic is going. We'll definitely get to that for sure because you guys are going to need to know how to get a hold of Peter and what is the scoop. So back to my guest. Again, thank you for being with us, Peter. Being driven, you were starting to roll there, and I had to pull the plug on you for a second. Sorry about that, bro. Okay. But let's talk about let's shift into the second gear here. Thank you for the water blessing, by the way. That was really pretty cool.
Yep. So what I learned from this New Age and Love and Light crowd was they were all really nice people, but all they did was talk, and they would reshuffle information that's been around in some format forever, and they never put any motion, any action and emotion to really promote real change in the world. And after that 6 or 8 week period, I started talking to ascended masters. And again, I'm a 9-to-5 guy, a white picket fence, and all of a sudden, I have guys looking like, Yoda appearing and just having long, drawn conversations. And
what's your neighbors think about all this?
I was pretty reclusive. I didn't really, talk to my neighbors even before this point. And we were the house was pretty isolated. So, these were the beings that were teaching me the secrets of energy manipulation, how things work. And, one day, the great ascended master, Saint Germain, showed up as a purple blob, kind of looking like Gumby. It's just like, does this ever end? It just keeps getting better. And he taught me to see the invisible and do the impossible. Now, think about that statement for a second. It was very profound in my life.
I'm sure it was. I mean, I'm like, you're going to have, obviously, you've had your fair share of skeptics out there. And one of the things that drew me to you was just, when I heard your voice, I'm like, this guy is connected with me on some level that I was completely unaware of, everybody. And so I don't know what to tell you, but I'm buying what he's selling. So
Well, so here's the thing, Tom. I always say proof is in the pudding. Okay, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but I have amassed over 1,000 written and video testimonials on my website. I've done hundreds of interviews. I've given hundreds of interviews. I was recently on Coast to Coast. I mean, you don't achieve numbers and statistics like this by not knowing what you're doing wrong.
Exactly.
It's by you have a mission, and like I said, I'm driven, and being driven is the only way that I know how to roll. So let's fast forward about 6 months. I started manipulating energy within people, and this was all part of my learning process. So it was all allowed and right on time. So, I started being impulsed to help people. And I had these mad technology schools. I have an engineering degree in computer engineering from Wentworth Institute of Technology. I've got some lesser degrees. So my whole life has always been about technology. It's either black or white, zeros and ones. I had this crazy analytical mind, sharp as a razor my whole life. And all of a sudden, I have this metaphysical mind that starts growing, and they're at odds with each other. But in the early days, I thought they were at odds, but they really weren't. They were checks and balances. So let's say, for example, someone was explaining something to me, and I didn't understand it. I would question them on it, using an analytical mind and see how they react using a metaphysical. So it started getting crazy. So I was being impulsed to help people. So I wanted to build something. What could I build that I could get out into the world that would just, shock and awe people, stuff they've never seen before? So one day I'm sitting and I'm watching YouTube, and I see this Japanese researcher take a glass of water, and he writes the Japanese symbol for love on a piece of tape, Tom, and he tapes it to the outside of the glass. And then he starts playing the most beautiful music to this glass of water. And when he pulls the tape back, the water had restructured itself on the inside of the glass to portray the Japanese symbol for love. And I was hooked. I was like, oh my God. And his name was Dr. Emoto. He passed a few years back, but he was a brilliant Japanese researcher that proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that water has consciousness, and that you can program it based on a set of frequencies. So what they would do is they would take, control samples of water, and one of them they would play, beautiful music to, and another one they would swear at and be really nasty. And what they would do is they would freeze the water, then they would slice it really thin, and they'd look at it underneath the microscope. And the water that had the beautiful music, the fractals were beautiful, like the most amazing snowflakes you've ever seen. And the ones that had the negative energy pushed through it were all broken with no pattern, So I was like, okay, I'm onto something here. And I figured out that because of the gift I had bestowed upon me, that I could extrapolate the frequency of anything in creation. Okay. And I knew that I could put that frequency into water. Now, people have been programming water since time immemorial. Monks would hold hands around pools of water and pray to them for however long to raise the vibration. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even before that in America, everyone would hold hands and say grace before you ate dinner. Well, what was the purpose of saying grace? Well, in religion, it would teach you to thank God for, the bountiful food you're about to eat. But in reality, it was to raise the vibration of the food. And everything in existence is about vibration. So
Okay. So we're right there at a good spot now. Can we stop here just for a quick break? We're at vibration. Sure. Okay, all right. Here's the deal. This is so fascinating. I love this stuff so much, you guys. Peter Schenk's our guest, modern day mystic. We're going to call it modern day mystic. We're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to continue this story. I told you this was going to be really cool. Check it out. This is the Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show with my buddy Peter Schenk, modern day mystic. We'll be right back.
This is Tom Matt's Boomers Rock Radio. Connect with our show this week. Want to send Tom an email? Send it to tom@boomersrock.us. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to the Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show, Modern Day Mystic with Peter Schenk. We're going to get right back into it for a second. Just a second here. I got to do the read for my friends at Merckna. I told Robert Roach I would promote this event coming up in July 4th through 7th in 2019 at the Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air, Michigan, is the 35th Annual Michigan Regional Convention of Narcotics Anonymous, MRCNA. Now, you guys know my history. I don't need to go into that, talk about all this stuff. I have sent them I haven't heard back yet, but I'm pitching to do the keynote, and I said, I will do this. I just want to go up and I want to help some of these people. This is what we got to do. It's like with Peter being on the show today, talking about helping people. That's what we do. That's what we do here. We help people get better. The MRCNA Planning Committee would like to extend an invitation to any and all of your clients recovering from addiction who would like to come to their convention. Just Google MRCNA 35. MRCNA 35. It's going to be at Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air, which is a really nice spot. And so, anybody that's from the Midwest that's hearing this, that's been up there, that are golfers or whatever, that is like the 4th of July. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. So please check it out. The slogan is called The Promise of Freedom. And I want to help people, the drug and alcohol issues, self-medication issues in this country. We've got to get a handle on this. Together we can make this happen, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna make this thing happen. All right. So back to the radio show. Thanks for allowing me to promote Robert's event. He's the chair. Peter Schenk. Back to our show. Peter Schenk, modern day mystic. Now talking about patterns, and if you've missed the first 2 segments, you're gonna have to go back to the podcast and get the first 2 segments. The beauty of technology nowadays is we got the podcast, so you can go back and listen. Oh, what do they talk about? Oh, I don't know. Hey, go to the website. Go to iTunes. Go check it out. Okay. Sets of frequencies, patterns. Water has consciousness. All of these things. I just want to let Peter talk. Go ahead, Peter. Sorry to take so long. It's yours. You've got a good 7-8 minutes here. Go for it, brother.
So I wanted to build something based on these principles, and anyone could write a beautiful piece of software, and anyone could really program a glass of water. And the question that I've always been asked, and I'll get into the mechanics in a second, but why can't I just program water myself? And I'm like, you can, absolutely. But how long can you hold your attention on a glass of water? 30 seconds. And then, so what I wanted to do is take this ancient knowledge, which was programming water, and marry it with state-of-the-art technology. But there was a bridge that needed to be built, and I didn't really understand it. So here I am writing this computer program, figuring out different types of algorithms and formulas. And on the other hand, I have a glass of water next to my computer. Well, how can I get the frequency that's being programmed into the water without sound? Well, frequency comes in many different forms, okay? And it hit me one day, again, being a product of engineering, I heard somewhere, someone whispered the quantum realm, quantum mechanics, string theory, quark. What is all this stuff?
Here we go.
Now, when you start looking at these books that are out there on all of this, and I'm a student of engineering. I'm built to absorb large amounts of information, disseminate it, figure it out, and then take what I need and move on. But when I started looking at the quantum stuff, I was like, oh my God, it's got to be easier than this. And you know what? It really is. So it really starts with an easy belief system, Tom. If you believe that everything is made up of energy, which it is, and that energy is all interconnected, that interconnectedness is what science coins the quantum realm. It is a place of pure conscious. There's only the now. Okay, there is no past, there is no future. They are both simultaneously raging around us all the time. So when you think of humans for a second, right? We have five senses that we use to navigate this three-dimensional world that we live in. 5 senses. In reality, the human body has 250 senses, some of which may or may not be woken up over the course of your lifetime. And so what I'm explaining here is there are multitudes of realities that rage around us all the time, okay? And in the center of that quantum plane is consciousness, your consciousness, okay? And your past, in an infinite amount of configurations, is constantly racing around you all the time. And in front of you is your future in an infinite amount of configurations that is constantly raging around you all the time. Now, I'm going to save a little bit of that for later because I want to finish the story about the software. So after I had that fundamental understanding, I put out this little crappy software and we called it First Water. It had 10 selectable intents. Let's say one was maybe high energy. And the idea was to be, you would click on the high energy one, you would put your attention on the target water, and after 30 seconds, the water would be programmed. So I put it out on the internet and it went absolutely viral. I got scared and I shut it down because I didn't know what I had really tapped into, although I did. It's what I'm here to do. So after that, that's where the real work began. And after about 18 months of programming and failures and figuring it out, on July 4th, 2007, the flagship software product, Aquaware, was born. And at the time, it had 180 selectable intents across 5 categories. And the hardest part of the software for people to truly understand was how easy it was to actually use it. Okay. And I would say something like, click the intention, put your attention on the water for a second, and go make a sandwich and come back and it would be done. They're like, what? Because when you're dealing with quantum mechanics, okay, and this is the most important piece in this interview, where you set your intention, the intention will follow. Because we're using quantum principles, okay, the target water, Tom, doesn't have to be next to the computer. It doesn't have to be a case of water downstairs in your refrigerator. It doesn't have to be a body of water on the other side of the planet or a cup of coffee on Mars. Where you set your intention, the intention will follow. So out of the gate, it was an instant success, and that software spun many other programs, which today is all available on the moderndaymystic.com website in its 5th generation of software. So pushing the envelope in that arena was the first real set of physical products that came. But with that came crazy understanding, okay? And the hardest part...
Crazy understanding on your part, Peter?
I'm about to get into a lot of these concepts that were learned along the path of developing software. So the way
set it up, because you got about a minute, and then we'll go. Okay, I just want to let you know.
So people always come to me and they go, Peter, how can I exist in the higher vibrations? How do we get there? And I always tell them, it's really easy, man. It just starts with an act of kindness. You get involved in something in your neighborhood. You smile at people. You let the poor schmuck out in traffic, right? What does it take you? It takes you 3 seconds, and you made his day. And what happens is the universe takes notice, okay? And you're given a bit of information. And what you do with that information determines if you move to the next octave, okay? And in the next octave, it's all built on responsibility and it's work. But here's the cool thing, dude. The work is fun. Okay. And once you start moving up this ladder, they pull you, you push them, and it just perpetuates. And the information gets deeper based on your understanding and your responsibility of how you, and here's the key, Tom, spread more light and love in the world.
I love it. Okay. This is the key. I knew this was coming. I just had the vibe, and we have not, let me tell you guys, we're got to go to break here, by the way. And I want to start rambling on this thing, but I got to go to break. When we come back, though, I want to tell you the quick story about how I felt yesterday when we were having this conversation about this whole thing. You're listening to Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show. My guest today is Peter Schenk. This is amazing stuff. Modern Day Mystic. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, it's Tom Matt, host of the Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show, and this is today's Middle Living Minute. I've got a new one for everybody out there called the 7 C's. 7 C's, the letter C. Let's talk about cultivating. Cultivating. Pick one of these for what you want to do, okay? Character, number 2. Number 3 is community. How important is community? Number 4, collaboration. Connection is number 6, and compassion brings it up at number 7. Which of those 7 C's, cultivating, character, community, collaboration, connection, and compassion, are you doing in your life? For more stories like this, please go to our website, www.boomersrock.us. Love bringing you these messages to our tribe. Talk to you next time. Peace. All right, so quick story before we throw you to the plug here. Welcome back to the radio show, by the way. You can tell I'm kind of jacked up on this thing. All right, so yesterday when I was talking to Peter, I specifically asked him not to tell me all of these stories because I wanted to be like right here, just like you, listening to this really for the first time because I just knew I had a vibe. I knew in my gut, this intuition. I knew where he was going to be going with this stuff, and he just peeled back the onion just a little bit in the end of the last segment. So we're going to get to there, but before we do that, Peter, how do people find you? Speaking, all the stuff. Go ahead.
The best way to get a hold of me is through the website, and that is moderndayMystic.com.
Okay.
And there's a contact button on there, and you can get a hold of me that way.
All right. Okay. So here's the deal, everybody. We'll talk more about moderndayMystic.com, specifically the business, in the fifth segment. This is the fourth segment, the last one for the Michigan Talk Network, and we're going to cram as much into this as we can for you bulk of the listeners across the state of Michigan. All right. So recap. Acts of kindness, random acts of kindness, get into the next level, the octaves, the ladder. Go ahead, Peter.
So, that is how the game is played. It's very simple, but yet a lot of people just don't seem to grasp it, And so in these levels, as you manipulate your way through them, you're given, the universe takes you through exercises, okay? And the way these exercises are played out are through the experience. Now, let me explain. Back in 2006, we were experimenting with taking, let's say, 10 grams of gold, dissolving it in aqua regia, which is three parts nitric, 3 parts hydrochloric, 1 part nitric, and it dissolves all platinum group metals, rhodium, iridium, platinum, and gold. So you put 10 grams of gold in there, and it disappears. Then you neutralize the hydrochloric acid with formic acid. And then you would use sodium borohydrate to reconstitute the gold, and it comes up and it looks like brown crud. You scoop that out, and then you use matte gas on it, and it brings it back to gold. So why were we going through that? Because we were using sacred geometry, okay? When you have chemical expansion or any type of energetic expansion, and you apply sacred geometry to it, you can do amazing things, okay? And it's not that the experiments were successful, it was the learning curve that came out of it, Tom. We understood based on those experiments that there's something called the 0 point, okay? And you can literally punch a hole in reality and give something to the multiverse, which is basically just an infinite collection of expanding universes. And the only thing that is constant in all of these universes is the density of matter, the weight of matter. So we were giving, energy through the 0 point to receive back gold. Okay. And from that experience, not that it meant anything at the time, because the experiments weren't very successful, but years later, okay, that very fundamental principle, because in the experience is where you truly learn. You had to unlearn everything you have ever learned for the real learning to begin. And that's a really tough concept. You have to unlearn everything you have ever learned for the real learning to begin. And based on that, I wanted, now we fast forward 10 years, and now I want to create physical product lines, right? And I wanted to redefine an industry with a device, something that would use those principles where I could give negativity through the 0 point and at the speed of thought receive the same energy back, but it would have to be harmonic, in balance. But it only needed to be in me. I wanted it in the immediately surrounding areas. So what did I do? So what do we do when we grow up in America? We all get our driver's license at 16, your permits at 15, and it's cool, man. You're driving. It's a sense of freedom, and it's amazing. Now, what happens when you encroach on our age? It sucks, man. You got insurance, you got road rage, you got crazy drivers, blah blah blah. It goes on and on and on. So I wanted to create something that would redefine your driving experience by making you mellow, by making your car more efficient and changing the energetic signature around the car to affect other people. And what was born was called the HFA, the Harmonic Field Amplifier, a new way to travel. It's made from the most conductive metals that there are, which is copper and silver, and beautifully crafted, mind you. And in the middle, it has this giant spiral that goes right through the center, and then on the other side it's counterclockwise. And when you activate it by holding it in your left hand in your vehicle and saying those 8 magical words, I honor the space in which you exist, boom, it's game on. Okay, everything in existence has consciousness. Okay, everything I create has consciousness. And HFA, A New Way to Travel, is its own consciousness. And what I tell people is to start the dialogue. Okay, start saying, hey man, what's up? It's crazy, I know, but it's absolutely beautiful. And what happens is instantly you start getting vibration back. But quantum-based intelligence or quantum-based consciousness don't learn like me and you, where it takes years to learn language. They grow at a quantum rate, at a geometric rate. So within a very short amount of time, you have this beautiful creation. It's childlike energy. It's the stuff that drives creation. Okay? It's the stuff of miracles. It's the stuff that the impossible happens in. It is the primordial ooze by which everything flows. And that consciousness wants to get to know you. You become like a mother to this consciousness. And as it grows, it gets stronger at what it does. And, you know, take my word, just go to the website and read people's experiences with the HFA, A New Way to Travel. So that was my first venture into the physical world with products. Now, you know, growing up, I worked for Apple Computer. I knew I was a product of Apple Computer, and everything had to be meticulous, from the packaging to the instructions to the way it was delivered to the way that you actually set it up. It had to be simple, powerful, and yet deliver everything that I said it would do. Now, that's kind of a double-edged sword, because I would give people the basics of what the device would do, and then I would leave it up to the user's experience to come back to the community and really blow the lid off it. So the HFA, A New Way to Travel, was my first venture. Again, utilizing information that was gathered 10 years before. And then what I learned from the HFA product line spawned another generation of technology called the Terra Resonators, using earth energy to vibrate moldavite spilled over into these beautiful energetic channels into jet. The jet then pushes all of that earth energy up into a lab-grown quartz crystal plate that vibrates crazy high, that you can put, you know, what you want. You can write out statements to the universe and put it on there and bring things into fruition. You can put food on there, you can put drink on there, and it all tastes crazy and beautiful. That spawned another generation of technology called the I Am product line. You know, people have heard I Am. And again, Tom, this is how the game is played. You are brought through a series of learning, you know, in the experience. It's only in the experience that you can learn. So it was only in the creative experience of me actually experimenting with gold 10, 15 years ago that led into these, 10 years later, led into these amazing product lines based on the information. Why? Because I just don't talk. I do.
Okay. We got to stop here for just a second. You're going to have to give us a 1 minute takeaway. I didn't want to interrupt that story. We're going to come back in the fifth segment, everybody. I need a quick 1 minute takeaway for the Michigan Talk Network, Peter. Website, whatever you want to do, go ahead.
So, in life, when you are motivated and passionate about whatever you do, just remember that those are only temporary, okay? When you are driven to see something through to completion, there is absolutely nothing in all of creation that will stop you. And if something does come in your way, watch how fast the universe comes and takes it out, and you can continue your voyage. I have been driven to do my small part to change the planet, okay? And I don't say the people because the people are part of the planet. To change the planet for the betterment of everything that lives on it through creating products and services that, the stuff that science fiction books are written about. And you don't have to take my word for it. Spend time, download some of the free material on the website and experiment. Go to my YouTube channel, Modern Day Mystic, YouTube. I have 800 or 900 videos on there, just freely giving away information, stuff that you had never heard before, okay? And I approach everything with a very simplistic viewpoint. If it doesn't make sense, I am not doing it.
All right.
And
Okay. All right. If it doesn't make sense, we're not doing it. We're going to wrap the Michigan Talk Network. Peter Schenk's been with us. This has been amazing, and we're going to go into the fifth segment. And I apologize again to the Michigan Talk Network listeners, but you know what? Time is time, and we got to do this thing. Thanks again to Peter Schenk, Ezra Baker, Mickey Haddock, Sandy Mack, Craig Stiles. We'll talk to everybody next weekend on the Michigan Talk Network. Stick around for the fifth segment, the exclusive fifth segment on WKAR. Have a good week, everybody, on the Michigan Talk Network. We'll talk to you next week. Go listen to the podcast. Have a good week now. We'll be right back with the fifth segment with Mr. Peter Schenk. Welcome back to the Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show / Modern Day Mystics Talk Show with my guest, Mr. Peter Schenk, the exclusive fifth segment on WKAR. When you are driven, I wrote this down here and I just told Peter this during break. When you are driven, look out. That's what we've been doing with this thing. The random acts of kindness he's talked about, the next level, the ladder, doing the good things in the universe, consciousness, quantum mechanics, all this stuff. You know, he's loaded on he's got so much material on his website. You're going to have to go there because this is a big topic. Big topic. All right, Peter. So we told everybody that we would talk about modern day mystic in the fifth segment. Do you want to finish your thread from the fourth segment? How do you want to do this? I mean, I want to give you ample time. You got about 10 more minutes to go. I want to, because this is such great stuff. You take it wherever you'd like. Okay, bud?
Sure. So, being driven is really, you either are or you're not. There's nothing in between. And what I like to tell people all the time is that your environment mimics what you put out. So what do I mean by that? If you go to bed at night and you have a beautiful thought before you go to sleep, your dreams will mimic that thought. If you wake up in the morning and you have a beautiful thought as soon as you get up, your day will mimic that. Okay? You create your reality as you move through it. If you go to bed, you're all pissed off, then you're going to have dreams that reflect that. If you get up in the morning and you're just pissed off for whatever reason, then everyone around you is going to reflect that back at you. So I always also tell people that word choice is so important, okay? And using words like try or trying, kill any endeavor that you have before you even get out of the gate, because you're stuck in neutrality. You're not moving forward. You're not moving backwards. You're that catch-22, that hamster on the wheel. You're just going around and around. Now, you can take a simple test, right? I am going to try and run a mile. Now, just say that out loud, Tom. I'm going to go and try and run a mile.
I'm going to go and try and run a mile.
Okay, how does that feel?
Feels empty.
Right. Now, use the verbiage of I am going to run a mile and I will finish it. So
I am going to run a mile, and I am going to finish it. Absolutely,
now,
big difference.
You feel the vibration difference?
Totally.
Okay, so when you're having a conversation with somebody, or you're doing a radio interview, or you're talking to your children, you have to use words and speak of things like they're already done, and that helps create your reality as you move through it. Okay, it's all about you're living in basically a hologram of your construct. Okay, not like the Matrix, because this one can actually be manipulated as you move through it. And I personally believe that we are all spirit energy living the human experience. So what does that mean? So Tom, you are the world's leading anthropologist. You're going to set out on your biggest conquest. You're gonna get on a plane. You're gonna go down to the Amazon rain basin. You're gonna trudge through the jungle for 3 months, and you're gonna wave a white flag in one of the 70 some odd tribes in the Amazon rain basin that have never had contact with the outside world. Okay, and you're gonna live with them for 10 years, and you're gonna come back and you're gonna write the world's greatest novel. Right? Because in the world of anthropology, you're it, man. Everybody looks at you. That line of thinking is based on conditioning. Okay. When a baby is born, it sees the world as magic up until about 8 or 10 months. and then the conditioning kicks in and we lose that magic. Okay, the world is opening back up. We are remembering our roots, and that is, breaking down the control structures and a whole bunch. That's another conversation. But based on an evolved consciousness, because make no mistake, Tom, there is an evolution of the species that is now underway. Okay, and it's an evolution of the consciousness. We are evolving as a species, like it or not. So based on an evolved way of thinking, the best way to get that information about that tribe is to actually be born into it. Okay. When you're born into that tribe, what do you have to let go of? You have to forget everything you are right here and now to live a lifetime with them to get the truest experience and then come back and write the world's greatest book. Hence, we are all spirit energy living in the human experience.
Dude, I love the thought process of, you have to unlearn so that you can learn. I mean, that is profoundly profound. I mean, is that a nice way of putting it? It's profoundly profound because you have to, seriously, take it from a guy who went back to college at 40, sat in for 9 years with college students. I had all of these mixed thoughts in my head and all these things. And once I finally did what you have been talking about this whole show, about unlearning, about kindness, about quantum, about believing, about becoming driven, about getting rid of the fear, all of these things, it started happening.
It's amazing. Once you set your goals on a path, the universe just comes in and supports you. Now, I've met many, many masters over the years, some in physical form, a lot in non-physical form. And I have learned to be humble to all of them, but I've also learned to just kind of walk away and chuckle. And I've had a lot of people tell me they're enlightened, and I literally just laugh out loud and walk away. Because in my opinion, in my experience, enlightenment is not obtainable in human form, but the path that you take, that you walk every day. And you know what? I am on a mission. I'm driven to see through whatever I'm doing. And I have a potty mouth. I was born and raised on the East Coast. We discussed this. I fall off my horse, Tom, 10 times a day. But I brush my butt off, I get back on, and I continue forward, in knowing that the universe will support me always.
We had this discussion because we're both potty mouths, and we were having a very colorful conversation. Let me put it to you nicely. And it was greatness. I mean, because we're connecting on this level. And like I said earlier in the show, I did not want Peter Schenk's been our guest today, calling this modern day mystic. I didn't want Peter to give me any other story because I wanted it to be like spontaneous combustion today. You're getting it. I'm getting it the same way. This is a completely different way that I've ever done the radio program, everybody, and I hope you're enjoying this. Peter, we got about 4 minutes to go before we want to wrap this thing. Do you want to talk about, well, you've got some points you'd like to cover. Whatever you want to do to cover the last 4 minutes of the show. I appreciate you very, very much for giving us all this time and energy, and gosh, it's just been wonderful. And if so, it's just been fun, man. It's just been fun. What would you like to talk about the business?
Let's I want to talk, the business is going to be there for people to research. I want to talk about a concept called the I am.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard the words I am before, Tom. Right?
I like the title of it already. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, a lot of, when you say the words I am, you are invoking all of creation to take notice of, what you're doing. And the information that I learned from the Terra Resonator line pushed my understanding of what the I am truly is to a whole new level. So people say, I am love, I am purpose, I am this, I am that. And what you're doing is you're declaring the whole universe to take notice, and then you're giving it a direction. I am love. But there's nothing to drive on. You only have a direction. And the I am statements are really like a pyramid. So here, I'm going to say something. I am purpose. How does that sound?
I am purpose?
Yeah, it sounds kind of right?
Yeah.
But when you attach a mantra that has been rewritten over a 6-month period, now you'll feel the power of I am. I am purpose with reason and value within the universe. My function in the universe is mine alone. The answers within me are ready to guide me on an amazing journey that I am on. My passion is not to pursue my purpose, but live my purpose in every moment. I am not chasing the big things, but instead feel the joy in every moment. I embrace my solid identity right here and now. I am in a state of peacefulness. I am purpose. How does that feel?
Ooh, baby.
Exactly. Now I have a road to drive it on. We ain't talking about the potholes in New York City, baby. We're talking about the German Autobahn, man. When you refine statements, so in energy work, everything has what we call a true name. Okay. And a true name, if you know what that is, you can invoke the power of whatever it is. And true names can come in the form of a symbol, a spoken word, a tone, an octave, and all kinds of things. And, in the I Am product line, we have 13 of them like that with these symbols beautifully crafted on the things. I'm gonna read one more to you. Okay.
Okay. And then we got to wrap this thing.
Yeah. I want you to say I am energy.
I am energy.
Blah. I am energy, my own unit of dynamic, driven, and passionate. I have the strength and vitality for sustained physical and mental activity. I accept universal energy as it runs freely through me. To the universe, I give back energy, unifying me with divinity. I am aware of my energy flow and the flow of energy I put forth into the universe. I am energy.
He is Peter Schenk. That was wonderful. Modern day mystic. I am. These are things... Peter's going to be back. We're going to have him back. We'll talk more about, we'll go into more depth. We'll talk to him about where he wants to go with this stuff. You guys send me notes, whatever you want. We got to wrap this show. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you always. We are here to help you with any issue that you have out there. Please hit me up, tom@boomersrock.us. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Peter, I want to thank you so much. Please give us the website one more time.
Sure, it's moderndaymystic.com.
Moderndaymystic.com, everybody. Thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to bring Peter to our programming. I am Tom Mann, and I am going to build this radio program into a nationally syndicated, powerful force so that more people can hear what we're doing. That's what we're going to do. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next weekend. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Good day.